Welcome back. This is Louisiana Cooking and Living. If you're new to my channel, my name is Katie, and we are doing a series on Mexican/Tex-Mex dishes. Let's see, if you're following along 2 weeks ago, or if you're not and you want to catch up, we've done chicken flautas. We've done just basic tacos with making our own taco shells and tostada shells. And then 2 weeks ago we did enchiladas, and we made our homemade enchilada sauce, and we also canned that and had extras to put in the freezer. Last week we did birria tacos, and this week we're doing tacos al pastor. If you've been following along, you notice these Mexican dishes have a lot of different seasonings and spices in them, and it makes them super flavorful, and it makes it kind of intimidating when you see the long list of ingredients, but it really isn't difficult. It's just collecting your ingredients and the time it takes for cooking these meats for a long period of time. So yummy, so delicious, so flavorful. It's just combinations of flavors. If you're not used to eating this kind of food, that it's just different and yummy. Anyway, so tacos al pastor can either be pork or chicken. And so today we're going to do both. We're going to use a pork shoulder roast, and then we're going to use some chicken thighs. And I guess we can kind of do a taste test comparison as to what we like better. And so we're going to get started on our marinade. This does need to marinate for 4 to 6 hours, or I guess you could do it overnight, but I wouldn't do it longer than maybe like 12 hours, just because there is going to be some acidic pineapple juice in there. And pineapple juice or lime juice, anything acidic, can break down your protein, your meat fibers, the muscle fibers. That's what I want to say. So we're going to get started on this marinade. I do have on the stove, I have my chili peppers. If you've watched, we're going to clean out our chilies. I'll link the enchilada recipe. That's where I show how to clean out the chilies. So we have, I wrote down my ingredients. I did kind of take two different ladies the last 2 weeks, my enchiladas and my birria tacos. I've used Cooking Claudia's recipe, and I'll link her in this description box also. But I kind of combined her recipe and then another lady and her page. It doesn't say on the bottom of this. I'll link her recipe in the bottom. I kind of pulled ingredients from both and kind of, I'm using more meat than they used and just kind of adjusting. One called for lime juice, one called for orange juice instead of the lime juice. So I just kind of married the two recipes together, I guess, and came up with my own kind of combination. So we're using 5 guajillo chilies, 1 ancho chili, and that's the only chilies they called for. But like I've said before, we like spicy here in Louisiana. We like spicy food. So I added 3 of the chili de arbols. Those are spicy. Let me grab a dried chili in case you haven't seen my other videos. So this is kind of what our packets look like here. I'm not sure if this is the way they are across the country, but this is a dried chili. You would cut the stem off and then clean out to make sure there's no debris inside, get the seeds and the membranes out. And you're going to put them on the stove. You bring water to a boil on the stove. You'll put these in there, let them soak for about 10 minutes, and they soften up. So this is an ancho chili. So we used 5 guajillos, 1 ancho, and then I put 3 of the chili de arbols in them. All right, so we'll get the rest of the stuff in our blender cup while the chili is finished soaking, and then we'll add those, and we'll get this marinade going. Okay, so in our blender cup, I will do a list of what I used in the description box. So what we're going to do in our blender cup is, first thing is we're going to use, you can use achiote paste. I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce it. Or you can use this Sazon Goya. So I'm using 2 packs of this. We'll put that in there first. This gives it a bright red color, this marinade. I'm going to see if the ingredients are on here. It's in Spanish, and of course I don't speak Spanish. Well, it's stuff in there that I really don't want to say I'm using. The number 1 ingredient's MSG. So if you want to skip this, you can. All right, we have that in there. We're going to use 1/4 of an onion. I have this piece of an onion here. It's pretty big. I'm going to cut this in half though. And maybe cut it in half again just to make it easier on my blender. All right, so we have a quarter of an onion. We're going to do 6 garlic cloves. You know I like a lot of garlic, so we have maybe a little bit more than 6. And we are going to do 5 cloves. Oops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so got our onion, our garlic. We're going to 5 cloves, 2 tablespoons of brown sugar, 2 teaspoons of thyme, 2 teaspoons of oregano. Like I've said before, I'm using Mexican oregano. It's like a cousin to the Italian oregano. It tastes a little different. If you don't have the Mexican, you can use the Italian. A half a teaspoon of cumin. A teaspoon of black peppercorns. Two bay leaves. It says a cinnamon stick. I am out of cinnamon sticks right now. I used my last on my birria tacos last week, so I'm just going to add some ground cinnamon. I'll go with like 1/3 of a teaspoon. I'm not sure how much is equivalent to a cinnamon stick. All right, now we're going to go with our liquids. We're going to do 1/4 cup of apple cider vinegar. This is a 1/2 cup measure, so I'm just going to do half of this. We're going to do 1/4 cup of avocado oil. Again, this is a 1/2 cup, so I'll do half of this. We are going to do a cup of pineapple juice. And I have these little cans, and they're 6 ounces, and so I'm just going to use both of these. I'm using a little bit more meat than the recipe called for, so this will just stretch our seasoning blend a little further to have a little bit more liquid in it. All right, it says a 1/2 cup of freshly squeezed orange juice. I'm going to squeeze it over my measuring cup because I'm not sure. I have 2 oranges here, but I'm not sure how much I'm going to need. Let me get a fork to help me squeeze this better. All right, so I'm looking like I'm going to need to use both of my oranges because that only gave me about 1/4 cup, so I'll know to just squeeze my other one in here all the way. So if you use a fork inside the orange, it kind of gives it something to squeeze against. This orange was super juicy though. Maybe we'll just stick with half of this one. And I see did I see a seed fall in? I don't see it. All right. Making sure I have everything let's see, I'm going to go through my list. The chilies, the Sazon, the onion, garlic cloves, apple cider vinegar, avocado oil, pineapple juice, orange juice, cloves, brown sugar, thyme, oregano, salt. I hadn't done the salt. I knew I was forgetting something. Cumin, black peppercorns, bay leaf, cinnamon stick. So 3 teaspoons of salt. This is Redmond real salt. So I had been using the pink Himalayan salt, and I should do a little, I mean, I've done research on my salt, but I think I should need to write it down just to explain it to you if you don't know why the benefits of using the pink Himalayan salt or the Redmond real salt. These are mined, and they are full of minerals. That's why they're that color. The Redmond real salt is mined here in the United States, though. All right, I'm gonna grab my chilies. All right, so they've been softening in the water that had been boiling, so we're gonna throw these in here. All right, this is gonna get a little loud, so we will fast forward through this. Okay, so we have our marinade here. This is my pork shoulder roast or Boston butt. And I'm going to slice this, and then I also have my chicken thighs here. So there is a bone in here. So I'm going to start slicing. I'm going to slice this way. And what we're going to do is we're going to slice it, and we're going to dip it and then put it in a bowl to marinade. All right, we're going to dip it. And then put it in there. So we'll finish slicing this up and get this all marinating. All right, so when we get to the bone, we kind of have to carve around the bone. This will give us some smaller cuts of meat. Let's see. All right, I think what I'm going to do is just stop here, and then I'm going to freeze this, and I can cook this down and make like some pulled pork with it, because that bone kind of goes throughout now. So I'm going to get my chicken thighs here. I'll trim off any of this excess fat. And again, we'll dip this in here. So we'll get all these chicken thighs done too. And this was 3.5 pounds of chicken thighs. So a total about 5 pounds of meat. I mean, this was of 8 pounds, but I'm not using it all. And the bone is in there also. All right, I'm gonna pour the rest of this marinade over the top. We'll get this covered up, put it in the fridge, like I said, to marinate for 4 to 6 hours. If you're doing this, you do it early in the morning for dinner that night. And we'll get this put in the freezer, and we'll get all this cleaned up, and we'll come back together when we are ready to start cooking. Okay, so we're back now. Our meat has been marinating for 5 or 6 hours now. And now we're gonna cut up a pineapple. I've never done this before, so we'll do this together and learn together. It says to cut the bottom of the pineapple about 1.5 inches in thickness. So give that a cut. I'll set that aside. And it says to cut the top leaf portion off, and we're going to discard that. So we're just going to cut this off. And actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to go put this in my garden. And here it takes about 2 hours. You just put this in your garden or wherever in a pot. You don't have to do anything with it. You don't have to bury it or anything. This just needs to touch the dirt. And then within 2 years, you should have pineapples growing. So we're going to put that out in the garden. All right. And now we're going to take a top 2 inches off the top. This isn't a very tall pineapple. I'm going to take that off. And we're going to trim this off. You don't have to trim the base, we're just trimming this top part off. So now we have all of our parts, and we are going to assemble this. So I got this barbecue skewer on Amazon. I'll link it below. It actually came with 2 different size spikes. I don't know if you can see that. See how tall it is. So we're going to use this. You can use this on your grill, on the smoker, make a rotisserie chicken like on your smoker, grill with it. If you cook maybe like some chicken shawarma, use that. So we're going to use this. And I'll bring the camera closer and we will assemble this. All right, so what we're going to do is take our bottom. This is the bottom. Maybe I'll cut. I don't want to hurt myself cutting this. I'm going to skewer this on there, and I didn't want to try and go through that stem end. Okay, so we're going to put this bottom piece on the skewer first. Just be very careful, it's super sharp. And push it all the way down. I'm going to put my pork down first, and then I'll do the chicken on the top. So if you remember, the chicken's going to be on the top of this marinade because that's what I did last. So I'll reach down here and find the pork. We're just going to start layering this on here. And I have the oven preheating to 350 degrees. You could cook this on the grill, just not doing that today. I'm going to do this in the oven, so you'd want your grill at about 350 degrees if you're doing that. It's going to take 2.5 hours to cook is what the recipe says. I should have taken my meat out earlier to let it kind of come to room temperature. It's kind of cold. So we're just layering this on here. It smells really good. This is a very large cast iron skillet. I would say it's 24 inches. I'm not good at all at measuring it, things like that. I would say it's about 24 inches though. I'd have to ask my husband. He bought it for me. So this is a really large cast iron. All right, so it looks like just the chicken is left. So I'm gonna layer the chicken on top now. All right, and then it says this top piece that you cut off and trimmed, I'm gonna put this on the top. I'm gonna skewer, I needed the top one, the tall one. Of course, be careful, like I said. All right, it just doesn't want to go all the way through. Now, you could put some chunked up onions in the side of this to roast along with it. If you're grilling this, you could grill the pineapple on the side. Put some of this marinade on this pineapple. You could roast, if you're making a salsa, you could roast your vegetables in here to make a roasted salsa roasted vegetable salsa. But I'm gonna clean my hands up and we'll get this in the oven. So I do have a couple pieces of red onion. I'm gonna throw that down in here because this I think would be good on the tacos. So I took out the 2 top racks in my oven because this is kind of tall. I have 3 racks in the oven. And the skillet is super heavy. So let's hope I can get this in here. I might have my husband lift it out when it's time. All right. All right, that did just barely fit in my oven. It was kind of close to the top. So this will cook in the oven for 2.5 hours, like I said. I'll check the temperature. Pork is supposed to cook to 165 degrees, if I remember correctly. I'm gonna check, and if it's different than that, I'll let you know when we come back together what temperature I cooked it to. So I'm gonna get this cleaned up and chop some onion because we're gonna serve this with some chopped onion, salsa, some corn tortillas, and queso fresco. So we'll come back when this is all finished. Okay, we are back and this has gotten pulled out of the oven and we are gonna get our tortillas ready to go. Turn my burner on here. And we're using corn tortillas and I'm gonna throw them on my gas burner here just to toast them on both sides. Kind of flip them back and forth. So I have some queso fresco, which is a crumbling cheese. It's kind of similar to feta, I guess. If you're not sure what queso fresco is, and it's kind of salty. I have my chopped onions. If you've watched my videos in the past, you know I don't like cilantro, and so typically you'd have onions and cilantro mixed. I don't like cilantro, so we're just going with the onions. And then I have some lime wedges. If you'd make some salsa, some roasted salsa, you'd have that. I do have some salsa in the fridge we'll pull out that I've made in the past. So we'll just get our tortillas warmed up and then we'll carve this up. If we remember, there's pork at the bottom, there's chicken up here at the top, and this super toasty pineapple up here. Just keep flipping my tortilla back and forth so I don't burn it. If you're doing this on the grill, of course you could grill your tortillas. Alrighty, got my 2 tortillas. If you don't like corn tortillas that aren't crispy, you could use flour tortillas. Move this a little closer so we can. All right, so I have a bowl to catch my meat on, and so we'll chop my onion. Let's see, we'll do some chicken, and then we'll do some for pork for a different taco. We'll do some of both. So we'll just slice down here. It's kind of turning. There we go. A little bit more. So juicy, smells so good. All right, so maybe I'll use the tongs with the pork. Probably could have picked out a sharper knife. And we get a little bit of this pineapple. Spinning around too. Oh, it's squirting. All right. And I'm just going to chop this up into some, here's my meat. Show that real quick. Into smaller pieces to go on the tortillas. So let me get this chopped up. All right, I have my little plate here. I have some lime wedge. I'm just going to squirt some lime on here. I put pork on one and chicken on the other, and I put some pineapple on both. I put some of the raw onion, the queso fresco, and then I grabbed some of the roasted red onions we put in the skillet with that. So we're going to try both flavors of these now. So we're going to go with the pork first. Very good. Let's try this chicken now. I really thought I liked the pork better, but I think I like the chicken better. Even though the pork should be juicy because it's the shoulder roast with full of marbling in there, those chicken thighs are pretty juicy. I think I actually like the chicken better. Well, I hope you give this recipe a try. And if you do, let me know in the comments if you got to try it and if it was like for a big party. It's this big dramatic display here. And just let me know what you think about it. This is the first time I've ever made this, and I really like it. It was pretty easy to put together, and I think we'll be doing this. I think I'll try it on the grill next time, though. I hope you like this, and if you hit subscribe, and you could follow along with us, and we'll just see you next time. Thanks for watching.